Всем привет, дорогие друзья и любимые подписчики, с вами снова Гидеон, это рубрика Квестим на ночь, где мы продолжаем проходить квест Lost Horizon, и это 18-я часть моего прохождения. Ну что же, отправляемся дальше в джунгли искать наш храм. Итак, дорогие друзья, в последней части мы остановились на том, что встретили акулу под водой. А зачем мы туда полезли? А все потому, что здесь стоит храм. И от храма мы видим сверху только большую статую, которая осталась. Храм находился в ущелье, ну или во враге в таком большом, если говорить более по-русски. Его затопило. Вот видите, у нас здесь водопады текут, все это затопило, и получилась вот такая вот лагуна, где торчит только статуя, стоящая на вершине этого храма. Нырнуть мы туда нырнули, но встретили акулу там, которая дежурит у входа и нас не пускает. И нам нужно как-то пробраться. У меня появилась идейка о том, как эту акулу нам нейтрализовать, чтобы пробраться к дверям затонувшего храма. Но прежде чем ее реализовать, эту идейку, нам нужно как-то подманить эту акулу. А подманить мы ее можем только кровью. У нас есть засохшая кровь в деревне, но как нам ее размочить, я пока не знаю. Хотя подождите-ка, идея пришла ко мне сразу. Разбитый глиняный кувшин, набрать воды и смочить эту кровь. Точно. Точно, точно, точно. Как хорошо идеи приходят, когда, ну, проходит некоторое время, ты как-то так обдумываешь все, и раз, все, идея сама пришла к тебе.
This should moisten the bloodstain.
Отлично. И теперь мы берем тряпочку и наконец-то вымачиваем ее в крови. Так, отправляемся опять к водичке к нашей. Кидаем... нет, сначала не кидаем. Тряпочку надеваем на кабель. Вы уже начинаете догадываться, да, что я хочу сделать? И помещаем кабель в воду. Ну что ж.
The radio can be charged electrically, and that charge could then be conducted down the cable. Sharks, I'm sure, are sensitive beings at heart. Even a small shock should be enough for him to turn tail. Of course, he's right on the lagoon bed. I'll need him to be right on top of the cable for it to work. Hopefully, the smell of blood will be enough to attract his attention.
И у нас получилась весьма интересная удочка.
It's working. The shark's surfaced, and he's circling the bait. I need to hurry before he pulls the whole thing under.
Скорее, 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 Фентон.
I am this close to solving this puzzle. I'm not moving the radio now.
Ну, так давай, используй.
The radio's on the bank of the lagoon, and the cable with the bait is in the water. I can see the shark circling from here.
Так, ну и что? Ручка, ручка, вот же.
Whap! 40 volts straight to the face.
Вот так вот.
Fenton Paddock, top of the food chain. Time to get down there and check out this temple.
Ну что, какой у нас счет против природы? Фентон 4, природа 0. И давайте заплывать. Ой-ой-ой, у нас воздуха-то не так много. Не так много воздуха. Скорее, скорее, скорее к вратам. К воротам, к вратам. Да, к вратам, конечно. Такие маленькие конструкции воротами не назовешь. Как я должен сесть? Он сказал... Как я должен забраться? Что делать? Так, что у нас здесь вообще есть-то? Разваленный храм. Земля? Зачем нам земля? Ну-ка попробуем. О, там какая-то трубка лежит. Блин, нужно уже всплывать скорее.
Weed, mud, clay. Yes.
Вот, металлический стержень. Все, выбираемся, 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 Фентон. Скорее, 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 скорее. Интересно, он бы сам...
I have my strengths, but breathing underwater isn't one of them.
Так, давайте трубочкой счистим растения. Ну-ка, точно. Только зачем нам эти растения? О,
There. I've managed to cut away the plants with the sharp edge of the pole.
Смотрите-ка, я замечаю небольшое сходство между этой штукой
There's a small carving here.
и той впадиной на двери.
It's carved into the stone. There's not much I can do with it. This carving looks like the same symbol as the indentation on the temple doorway.
Вот, даже Фентон заметил. Так, прекрасно. А стержень мы можем с чем-нибудь совместить? Нет, не можем. Так, это мы уже забрать не можем. Так, давайте еще раз сделаем заплыв. Что у нас здесь есть? Просто земля. Развалины храма. Ворота. Почему же земля нам доступна для этого, для взаимодействия? Причем не просто осмотреть, а именно повзаимодействовать.
Weed?
Да, это дно озера. Так, может раскопать ее? Кувшин набрать?
I'll
О,
collect some mud.
хорошо, набрали. Только зачем она нам? Ладно, давайте поднимемся наверх. Больше здесь делать нечего. У меня была идея сначала попробовать глаз дракона туда запихнуть, но нет, не все так просто. Нам нужно как-то вот этот уступ отковырять, что ли, и вставить туда. Ну-ка.
I'm only going to smash it if I keep doing this.
Ну и разбей его, чё, в чем проблема?
I'm only going to...
Ну не знаю, в чем проблема-то? Ладно. Так, а что если... Ну-ка, нет, нельзя. Давайте вернемся в деревню. Что если нам эту глину поставить на огонь? Ну-ка, ну-ка, ну-ка.
I could heat the clay, but it's not much use in the bottom of this jug.
Так, почему не нужно класть в этот? А куда нам ее положить? Так, может с чем-то соединить можно? Так, дерево баньян. Причем тут дерево баньян? Так, стержень. Нет, нет, нет. А, ну-ка, нет, с ним уже не поговорить. Все уже. С ним уже не поговорить. Так, а может быть в болоте у нас что-нибудь есть? Что мы можем сделать? Вода. А это что? Лиана. О, может оторвем? Ну-ка. И зачем? Из нее сок потечет, да? Точно. Так, а если смешать глину с этим соком? Ну-ка. Забавно. Картонную коробку-то мы ее, конечно, не соберем. А зачем он нам?
My hands are already soft and smooth. I am a new man, but I don't want to overdo it with cosmetics.
Да, правильно. Перебарщивать с косметикой не стоит. Но зачем же нам это нужно? Ну-ка.
I'll soak the reeds with some of the sap.
А зачем? Я просто пока не понимаю. Будем делать то, что нам доступно. Так, это нельзя. Это тоже нельзя. Ладно. Тоже нельзя. Ничего нельзя, а? Что ж такое? Ладно. Такс, осмотрим. Так, может быть в болото? Зачем нам вообще вот это?
The reeds absorb the sap.
Может смазать что-то? Может этот камень смазать? А зачем? Ну давайте попробуем. Масло. О, ну-ка.
If it's good for my skin, it can't do any harm to an old rock. I'll oil it up.
Ага, мы намаслили. И что дальше?
I've coated the carving with the plant oil. I've oiled up the carving. Not much else I can do.
Глину как-нибудь применить? Нет, нельзя. Стержень? Тоже нет. Пустая картонная коробка.
Might be I can make some kind of mold of this carving. At the moment, though, the cardboard's just too rigid.
А, вот что ты хочешь сделать, Фентон. Вот оно как. То есть, нужно снять форму. Форму, вот зачем нам глина, вот зачем нам все это. Что нам сделать с болотом? Нет, на лиану не применяется. Он сказал, нужно как-то увлажнить, что ли? Ну что, в лагуне ее вымочить, я не знаю. Точно. Болото не подошло.
The cardboard softened in the water.
Так, теперь мы прислоняем и получаем форму, да? Потом картон застынет.
This should make for a good mold. The damp cardboard will dry around the carving, and the plant oil should let me get it off again in one piece.
Ну, не знаю, что там с маслом, в общем. Но в любом случае...
dried in the heat. If I just remove it carefully, and yes, a beautiful cardboard mold.
Так, теперь положим туда глину.
I fill the cardboard mold with clay.
Отлично. И давайте на огне, конечно же, на огне обожжем этот вот слепок.
Let's hope it's hot enough to fire the clay.
45 минут.
That should do it. The cardboard's burned away, and the clay looks pretty solid.
Отлично. Так, заберем же ее, только нечем, да? Палочкой аккуратненько. Вот, у нас получилась глиняная форма, которую мы сейчас пойдем и используем прямо на двери нашего храма. Надеюсь, что этого будет достаточно, чтобы нам забраться внутрь. Давай, Фентон, воздуха не так много, еще ты плывешь еле-еле. Как же нам успеть-то, а? Значки очень похожи на эти.
We're in business.
На лягушачьи лапки.
How has no water reached this part of the temple? It smells old and dank, but at least I can breathe.
Какая красота! Боже ты мой, а! И главное, смотрите, окна.
These glass windows must be thick as hell to withstand the water pressure, but this place was supposed to have been built over 10,000 years ago. They should barely have had two sticks to rub together. Christ! All these stories and legends. They're all beginning to feel very real.
Да уж, действительно. Откуда стекло 10 тысяч лет назад? Какой-то камушек, подберем его. О, еще один А тут везде камушки эти лежат. Ну-ка. О, еще в стене один. Да? Зачем-то нам нужны эти камушки. Давайте собирать их. И постамент. Я уже затаил дыхание. Что же на этом постаменте? Какие фрески!
The painting shows burning houses and many, many dead people. They're fighting one another on a huge mountain of corpses. But they don't look like warriors. They're just townsfolk murdering one another. Is this the fall of Shambhala? The inexplicable catastrophe that Professor Hayes mentioned, but he said it was a dragon, and Kim translated something similar back at the monastery. These people are killing each other. But why?
Действительно.
There's a round stone jutting out of the wall here. I'll grab it.
О, и 4-й камушек. Может, здесь еще есть где-то камушки? Так, ну-ка.
The painting up there has a number of people reaching the shores of a sea or a river by boat. These must be the Shambhala survivors. The ones who came here to hide the second key. That can't be. That looks like a British Army uniform. But this place was supposed to have been built millennia ago.
Да, что-то ничего не понятно, как это так.
The same characters as the monastery in Tibet. This is definitely the right place.
О, тут еще один камушек.
It's a magnificent city with some kind of glowing orb in the center. This must be Shambhala, the light at the center. That must be the source of these morphogenetic fields. It's the world soul.
Да уж.
Here's another stone.
Удивительно, как они хорошо вынулись отсюда. Эти камушки. О, еще камушек.
It's so well preserved. The painting seems to portray a scene Professor Hayes told me about. It's a group of herdsmen or hunters entering a large cave in the mountains. These are the people who discovered the entrance to Shambhala many thousands of years ago.
Ну, в общем, вот.
There's a loose stone protruding slightly from this painting.
Вот всю историю мы и повторили заново. Точно ту, которую мы слышали. Ну, давайте теперь к постаменту подойдем наконец-то.
Okay. We've got 6 circular recesses arranged around a symbol. This must be where the artifact was stored all that time ago. I'd better take a closer look.
Да, давайте посмотрим поближе. И камушки, наверное, нужно... О, какой мох красивый, а? Супер.
I can't move it. There's a small slab in the middle of the plinth with a symbol on it.
Так, и нам нужно как-то камни расположить. Я, правда, не знаю как. Ставлю наугад.
I heard something move inside. Is it unlocked? I can't move it.
Кто знает. Ну-ка посмотрим.
There's a plinth in the middle of the room. I can't move it. Aha! The stones can be pushed down into the platform.
Ага, понятно. Так, ну и давайте сейчас я нажму их. А, вот оно как. Сейчас будем действовать по моему методу. Вот он. Это мой метод. Метод тыка. И вот он артефакт.
Finally, the second key. I've traveled 3 continents just to find this thing. I should be happy. Or at least relieved. But there's something bothering me. Something at the back of my mind. I'm finally holding in my hands the key to Shambhala. The key to rescuing Richard. And I've got this weird feeling about it all. Is that my conscience? Damn, I thought I lost the thing years ago. Maybe all this wasn't such a good idea. How many people have already died for this thing? And how many more will die if I open the gate to Shambhala? Beyond all the myths and the legends, there has to be something real at the end of it all. There is something behind that gate that shouldn't be messed with. I don't know. Maybe it's this place, or maybe I'm just tired, but I can't help but think back to Hong Kong Harbour. I made a split-second decision to save Richard, and it was the wrong one. I won't make the same mistake again. I don't have the luxury of special circumstances as an excuse this time, and this time, there's a lot more at stake. Kim said you can't weigh one life against another. Last time, my mistake cost 8 lives. This time, it could be thousands. I've got to accept the reality. I can't go back to Tibet. I have to go back to where it all began. I have to justify the most difficult decision of my entire life.
Lord Weston,
Yes?
Mr. Paddock is back.
What? What are you waiting for? Send him in, quickly. Fenton, you have no idea how relieved I am to see you.
Lord Weston,
Do you have any news of my son? Is he alive?
I'm afraid it's not that simple, Governor.
Is Richard dead? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
No, he's still alive, I think.
Oh, thank God. Do you need more money? How can I help you? Just say the word, I'll do everything within my power.
Sir, I know where your son is. I even have the key to the gate that leads to his location. The problem is, I can't be answerable for opening that gate.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Richard is in a place in the Himalayas called Shambhala. For some reason, He fled there when his unit was attacked by Nazi troops. Maybe it was the only way he could prevent the Nazis from entering Shambhala. The point is, that place holds a secret so vital, it cannot be permitted to fall into the wrong hands at any cost. This is what I've come to realize. The second key could undo everything Richard has worked for. If I reopen the gate in order to follow him, I'd risk letting the Nazis into Shambhala. Lord Weston, we have to destroy the second portal key. I'm sorry, but the dangers it represents are simply too great.
What are you saying? You suggest that we leave my son, your friend, to his fate?
Lord Weston, you know what Richard means to me. You know what I've sacrificed for him. Believe me, if there were any other way, I would take it. I know it's hard to accept, but after everything I've seen and experienced, I just can't continue with this mission. I'm here today to ask for your understanding.
I cannot believe I'm hearing this. You sentence my son to death, and you come here asking for absolution. I was wrong about you, Paddock. If you are unable to handle the situation, I shall have to find someone who is.
As I said, I'm very sorry, Lord Weston. But I've made my decision. I'm going to destroy the key.
I'm afraid that decision is no longer in your hands.
What is this? You're collaborating with the Nazis, Governor!
I had no choice, Vinton. Mr. Kleist claimed to know where Richard was. He said he could return him to me. I was skeptical, but a father will cling to even the slightest shred of hope. I never gave up hope that you would solve the situation, and that I could quickly end my collaboration with the Nazis. But now I realize that I backed the wrong horse.
Governor, this is a mistake.
I'm prepared to take that risk.
Paddock, I wonder if you would be so kind as to accompany me to the airport. You have an appointment in Tibet that you absolutely cannot miss.
We meet again, Mr. Paddock.
It's a dubious pleasure, Countess. But I guess you've become rather accustomed to having me around.
Had I been given the choice, you would be lying in your wretched Hong Kong shack with a hole between your eyes, believe me. I console myself knowing this will be the last time your good fortune keeps you alive. I hardly imagine you are aware of the fact, but you must at least have felt the transfer of energy when you held the second artifact in your hands, yes? Paddock, you have connected with the key. You are now the only person capable of using it.
You mean you can't get into Shambhala without little old me?
Precisely.
And you think I'm going to help you?
But of course, there can be no doubt.
I hate to break it to you, love, but if I really am your last option, you're rather scraping the bottom of the barrel. Your expedition ends here.
Tut, tut, Mr. Paddock. You are always so hasty to judge before knowing all the facts. I am well aware of the lengths you would go to keep Shambhala from us. You would merrily abandon your greatest friend for that very reason. But I wonder, would you so capriciously condemn to death your pretty little accomplice?
Kim?
You would merrily abandon your greatest friend for that very reason. But I wonder, would you so capriciously condemn to death your pretty little accomplice? Oh, please don't look so dejected. At least you have one less life on your conscience. Well, if you cooperate, that is. Please don't make me describe to you what will happen to your girlfriend should you fail to comply. I think you have the imagination to make the right decision.
Kim, are you okay?
Just about.
Well?
Okay. Let her go and I'll do whatever you want.
I would dearly love to grant you this wish, but alas, it may be that your friend can make herself useful on the other side of the portal. No, she stays with us, but she gets to live a little longer.
Fine. What do you want me to do?
Place the second key in the recess on the pedestal. We will talk some more in Shambhala.
Fenton, wake up!
What?
Fenton!
What? Richard? Richard, is that you?
Of course it's me. Are you feeling okay?
You... Why do you look like a ghost?
Oh, charming. You came all this way just to tell me I've seen better days.
I don't understand. My head hurts.
Apparently your sense of humor is still en route. Well, what is there to say but... welcome to Shambhala. It was good to see Wang's niece again, but I would have preferred it if you'd left the Nazis on the other side.
Kim! Where is she?
She landed in the central cavern along with the Countess. I managed to convince the guardians of this place to separate you and bring you here instead.
Guardians? You mean there are still people here?
No, not in present-day Shambhala. Just you, Kim, and a few dozen Nazis.
So, what the hell are you talking about then? And what happened to you? Why are you all... flaky?
Ah, well, that's the story, isn't it? When I used the original key back in the monastery, it transported me to Shambhala, but the Shambhala of the past. It seems when the key was constructed thousands of years ago, the monks who stayed in the Kembalang Valley to guard it planned to use it to return here someday. I don't begin to understand how any of this works, but believe me when I say that this place holds extraordinary power.
So I've read. Something about morphogenetic fields.
Providing it a name implies an explanation for something inexplicable, but yes, if you like, morphogenetic fields. The high priests described Shambhala as the heart of the world, but in truth, it's more like the soul. If you want to see it in a scientific light, I suppose you could say that the energy of this place is what constitutes the life force of every living creature throughout time. Just as every single person has a soul that makes him the person that he is, every species has a soul that makes the species what it is. And the sum of all that resides here, the world soul.
Would you be shocked if I said this was all a little over my head?
I've been here for days and I still don't understand it. I don't believe we'll ever understand this place completely. Just take it as fact. There is an energy here, an imperceptible energy that bonds us all.
How imperceptible exactly?
Well, we are all linked to one another subconsciously. But it's true that certain people are able to detect the fields with more precision than others. We call them mediums or oracles. But the energy fields explain a lot more than that. Think about natural instincts, or phenomena such as mass panic. They're all a result of the ebb and flow of those subconscious links.
Well, it all sounds very grand, but what does it actually mean on a practical level? Are we in danger?
Fenton, imagine the heart of Shambhala as a gigantic archive, a pool of everything people have ever researched, discovered, or developed.
So, that's a yes then.
It is. The entire world converges right here.
And the Countess knows that.
But it's not just that. The center transcends time and space. He who controls it controls the sum of all human knowledge, past, present,
and future. They could conquer the world.
No, that's not the threat. The power of this place is too much for any person to control. Mankind doesn't have the maturity to handle this gift. Even the priests of primeval times failed.
So, this field of energy ended up making the residents of Shambhala kill each other in a civil war.
Correct.
How?
Imagine understanding everything, instantly. The spirit of a person would be subjected to extraordinary strain. They simply couldn't cope. Besides, there are darker forces at work. This archive is not limited to discoveries and inventions. It represents the entirety of the human condition. Jealousy, envy, hate, these define the human species just as much as learning or understanding, and have a corresponding influence here in Shambhala. But, as I said before, it is not something we can easily understand.
Okay, fine. So we just wait for the Countess to open the center. I'll dash in, grab Kim, then we sit back and watch while they all kill each other.
You're absolutely right.
But
in my time, Fenton, the surviving priests are preparing to leave Shambhala for good. In order to protect the heart from misuse, they are performing a ceremony that will set up a force field around it. This field will allow only the bearer of a certain amulet to pass through. After the ceremony, the amulet will be divided into 3 pieces and hidden in the temples of 3 priest castes who once ruled here.
hey, even better. The Nazis won't get past square one.
No! They've begun to plant explosives. The field is maintained in your time by a series of plinths. It would take a great deal of power, but they may be able to destroy them. We have to stop them, Fenton. They may not be able to wield the power of Shambhala, but if the energy of this place is disrupted in any way, it could have catastrophic effects for every living creature on the planet. We must act quickly.
We? I thought you were stuck in the past.
You're right. But you won't find the 3 amulet pieces without my help. If I understand it correctly, our times are now synchronized. We can communicate, but we cannot cross the boundary. In my time, the priests are only just now performing the ceremony to invoke the force field. So the amulet has not yet been hidden, and I have no way to know where it will be placed. But that doesn't mean to say I can't help you look for it.
And what am I supposed to do with the thing when I find it?
You will have to use the power of the source to drive off the Nazis.
As in the source that sends anyone who goes anywhere near it doolally? That source? Is there a plan B?
Don't worry. Once you find the dragon amulet, I will help you control it.
Okay, let's do it.
I couldn't agree more. The future of the world is in our hands.
Итак, дорогие друзья, глава 7. Сердце мира. О да, мы забрались в самую глубину, в Шамбалу.
Looks like I'm on my own again. I'm still not sure I've got a handle on all this. 10,000 years ago, the residents of Shambhala all kill each other, save for a few priests who escape the civil war. Shortly after that, Richard crash lands here and convinces those priests to invoke a force field around the center to protect it. Now the Countess, along with her troops, and Kim, are in the center of Shambhala, ready to blow the bloody thing up. And, surprise, surprise, I'm the only one that can stop them. I need 3 pieces of some amulet to harness the power of the source and somehow make everything okay again. That's Richard's plan, in any case. I'll probably just wander around breaking things until something interesting happens.
Итак, мы можем переключаться между Ричардом и Фентоном. И не только переключаться между ними, можем переключаться между временем, настоящим временем. Ричард в прошлом, мы в настоящей Шамбале. Это очень-очень интересно. Ну что ж, дорогие друзья, продолжим мы, безусловно, в следующей части, вероятно, последней уже части. Надеюсь, вам понравилось. Подписывайтесь на канал, ставьте лайки, вступайте в группу ВКонтакте и советуйте друзьям. Всем спасибо и спокойной ночи.